Check, check. 1, 2. Fuck, is that too bright? Nah, it'll be fine. Right, so this is Dell's new XPS 159500. It's basically a premium built do-all for-all type of laptop, and it all starts with the build quality and design. This thing looks sick. It's got this really nice modern contemporary design with a machined aluminum chassis, a sandblasted lid which almost eliminates fingerprints, and some really nice brushed sides that were double anodized for added durability to help prevent scratches on the ports. But then there's small details like how the bottom panel's slightly raised around the rubber pads, and there's no port identification markings, which all make the XPS 15 look so clean. Speaking of ports, we've got 2 USB-C Thunderbolt 3 ports, a single standard USB-C, audio combo jack, and an SD card reader, so dongle life's definitely something you're gonna have to consider. Dell does include a USB-A/HDMI dongle in the box, but that might not be quite enough for some of you. Luckily, that's where Amazon comes in. But those 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports would be perfect for an external GPU and Thunderbolt display setup of some sort. Now, there's a ton of different configuration options depending on your budget and needs. The config I've got here comes with the Core i7-10750H, but you can also get it with the i7-10875H. There's also a more budget-friendly i5 version, and if you wanted to go balls to the wall, there's an i9 version as well. There's 2 display options you can choose from. Mine came with the UHD IPS LCD touch panel, but you can also get it with a 1920 by 1200 non-touch panel. Now, both are rated at 500 nits max brightness, but my test results showed 445 nits at 100%, which is still plenty bright. Color gamuts are amazing, which is awesome for creators who want to do some photo or video editing. Watching content 4K or otherwise looks wicked, and with that 16 by 10 aspect ratio and those Nicole Richie thin bezels, you get a bit more screen real estate and everything feels just a tad bit more immersive. The lid's also a super smooth one-hand opener, which just adds to the overall high-end feel of the XPS 15. Anyways, you can pick up both display versions from the sponsor of today's video, Micro Center. Pretty smooth ad transition, eh? Yeah. With 25 Micro Center locations across the US and growing, and over 30,000 different products, Micro Center is like tech geek heaven, except you do have to pay for stuff. But at least you don't have to die to get there. Micro Center has everything from mice and keyboards to smart home devices and home theater setups, from GPUs, PSUs, and motherboards to the cases you're going to install them in. So head to your closest Micro Center or go to microcenter.com for your next PC part, laptop, TV, drone, speakers. Now the Dex carbon fiber, which you may or may not like. Personally, I'm fairly neutral. Like, it's comfortable to rest my palms on, but shows fingerprints and sweat pretty easily, and to me looks a tiny bit out of place with all that silver metal everywhere else. The keyboard's awesome. It's not full size, but the key placement's good and the size of the peripheral keys are great. Travel distance is pretty shallow, feels like 1.3 millimeters, but the keys have awesome tactility, which makes typing satisfying and fun. It's got white backlighting with 2 steps of brightness, and even though this laptop supports Windows Hello, there's a fingerprint reader in the blank power button at the top right corner. The click-style trackpad's way bigger than what you see on most Windows laptops. Thankfully, it's not as big as the ones you see on MacBooks, but I think the size here is great. It's got a glass surface, so finger glide's been really good, and I haven't had any accuracy issues thanks to Windows Precision drivers. My unit does suffer from that little wobble at the top right corner that others have pointed out, but Dell says they've fixed the issue with all models shipping from June onwards, so we'll see what happens, but at least they're aware of it. And there's 4 speakers total, a couple of small ones facing up and a couple of large ones facing down, with pretty good sized resonance chambers for the space, and altogether they produce some wicked sounding audio. The lows, mids, and highs are all really well balanced, the volume gets loud, and you can tweak the EQ with the Max Audio app, as well as set up some sort of spatial audio head tracking with the webcam, but I didn't get a chance to test it out because I don't care. Now, with that 10th gen Core i7-10750H and GTX 1650 Ti, performance on this guy with most work-related tasks is gonna be great, and yeah, you can get some photo and video editing done, but nothing too serious, because that 4K display's a lot for this system to handle. If you did want to get a little more serious, I'd highly recommend splurging for the i7-10875H model, or even the Core i9 model if you've got a bit of scratch to spend. Under the full system load hammer, I was seeing CPU clock speeds averaging only 1.8 gigahertz at 73 degrees Celsius, with the fans maxed out, which were quieter than most gaming laptops, but it's still fairly loud compared to other non-gaming laptops. And while idle, the fans seem to just keep running. They don't do any crazy ramp-ups, but if you're in a quiet room working away, you'll hear them. Can you do a little gaming? Sure, but try and keep it to easy on the system. Competitive style games like Overwatch in low settings at 1920 by 1200, and you'll see triple-digit FPS, but keep in mind the display's only got a 60 Hz refresh rate. Now, if you wanted to play around with parts or clean the fans, taking off the bottom panel's really easy, but you will need a T5 TorqueSpit driver. And what we have here is access to the 2 RAM slots, main and secondary SSD slots, and the 86 watt-hour battery. The Wi-Fi card's soldered on, but it's from Killer Networking, and it's a Wi-Fi 6 card, so there's no need to mess with it anyways. But 86 watt-hours is a decent battery size, which gave me almost 8.5 hours at 70% screen brightness, while in Dell's power mode and Windows settings, and the optimized option in the Dell Power Management app, where we've got a few more power options and some other battery-related settings. Anyways, it's a super duper nice laptop that seems to be like a jack of all, master of none type situation, which I think really opens up this machine's target demographics to almost anyone. Hell, I'd buy it, although I'd probably go with the non-4K display and upgrade to the i7-10875H instead of the 10750H. But I think that does it for this one. I hope you liked the video. If you did, maybe show me some love with that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Cheers.